Welcome back to the Independent Republican Mike Graham right here on TalkTV. We're talking to Rafe Heydel-Mankoo, historian, broadcaster and senior fellow at the New Culture Forum. We had some movement yesterday on the migrant bill, Rafe. It looks as though the House of Commons was able to sort of do away with quite a few of the House of Lords amendments that were brought in famously the other week when the Archbishop of Canterbury was sort of leading the way for the wokists. They're also talking about bringing in age tests for migrants as well, which has got to be a step in the right direction.
Yes, well, I mean, this is quite remarkable. It's that they're doing this just now when we've had, over 1,000 alleged child migrants have already been proven to be over the age of 18. Migration Watch looked into this, and 66% of disputes about the age of child migrants end up proving that they are actually over 18. And, over 50 migrants in this country who claim to be under 18 are over 30.
Yes.
Quite why we've allowed this to go on for so long, boggles the mind. And that's my problem here is, yes, it's wonderful that we've got this illegal migration bill being put forward by the government. Yes, it's wonderful that we're finally having age checks done. But, they've been in government now for 13 years. That's the exact same time that New Labour was in power. And they've done absolutely nothing until now, of course, they realise they're facing a near extinction level disaster at the next election. They're suddenly getting tough on all of these issues. It's too little and it's too late. But a particular plague on the House of Lords, for deliberately trying to scuttle this bill or kick it into the long grass. And it just shows how out of touch they are with the British public and how little they understand the consequences of this. I happened to go, unexpectedly, I was in Great Yarmouth last weekend, and everywhere I went, I could see evidence of the impact that illegal migration is having on this country by the people that are around. And of course, the peers never ever go to these places. They live lives of cocooned away from all of this. And it's just like the Church of England, these institutions have been captured by woke ideology. Yeah. The buildings may look the same, they may be wearing robes, but they're completely different institutions how they were just 20 years ago.
Well, exactly right. And they all sit around in the same kind of company, talking to each other about what they think the world is actually like, without really realising what the world is like for ordinary people living ordinary lives, trying to get from point A to point B on any given day. I mean, I'd put Theresa May in the same category, who has fallen for the age-old trick of thinking that because she was once Prime Minister, she has got a much more important view of the world than anybody else. She's now saying that this bill will consign more people to slavery, which is complete and utter nonsense, because what is currently consigning people to slavery is the ability to bring people here on small boats and then enslave them in the black market.
Exactly. I mean, the entire intent of this bill is to deter people from coming to this country. And the more amendments that are made, the more people try to water down this bill, the less of a deterrence is going to stand, and the more people will be coming into abject slavery. I mean, what this bill does really is it stops, for example, people from Albania claiming to be victims of modern slavery, which is one of the ways in which they were able to stay here for so long. If you're coming from a safe country, you get deported. I mean, Sweden has 0 immigrants coming claiming asylum from Albania because they know it's a safe country. We need to do the same thing here. Theresa May is famous for having this hostile environment policy. Well, of course, now we know that hostile environment policy was actually very weak. If you really want to make this country unattractive, you just have to make it less inviting than France. You've got to halve the benefits people receive when they get here. You have to confiscate any assets that they have over a certain amount, as they do in Denmark, and you have to crack down on the black market economy of this country, because unlike France, which is very tough on immigrants who are tough on businesses that hire illegal immigrants, in this country they know that they can disappear so easily into the curry houses and the restaurants of this country, and landlords don't do checks on people who are renting from them. If we actually got really serious about this, we would tackle those two issues as they do in France, and we would immediately see a big drop in numbers coming over here.
Yeah, absolutely right. Finally, let's touch upon the Chinese spy. I mean, I'm not particularly surprised that the Chinese have got spies wandering about in Westminster and very possibly inside the Houses of Parliament. But apparently, according to the Daily Mail this morning, there was a meeting organised for sort of Chinese dissidents from Hong Kong, and the Chinese sent a spy to infiltrate it. I mean, I don't wish to slag off the Daily Mail, but it doesn't strike me as much of a news story, this really, does it?
No, I mean, look, we are in the middle of Cold War II.
Right.
We are actually in a real Cold War with China. It's time that we woke up to this. People like George Osborne and others, you know, put this nation into such peril, I would say, in terms of security and so forth, by opening up so much of our infrastructure and elsewhere to China. Universities have across the Anglosphere these Confucius centers, which are alleged to be like the British Council, cultural exchanges with China, but are far more sinister because, of course, they are filled with Chinese spies whose role it is to steal intellectual property from the universities that they're in. We have to understand China's tactics and get serious about this. And, you know, the degree of political correctness, I suppose, that's coming into play here too, for a fear of, you know, maligning China in some sort of racist way. Yes. It's silly. We just have to get serious that they have long-term strategies looking at the future of geopolitics in a 25 to 50-year term. We're only looking at it on a 4 or 5 year electoral cycle.